Right now, there is a glowing dot on your phone that knows exactly where you are, a blue point on a map, a calm voice telling you where to turn, a path drawn out step by step. You never have to wonder which way is home. So ask yourself this: how did ancient humans walking through pitch-black forest with none of it almost never get lost in the dark? Take that phone out of your hand. Take away the map, the signs, the streetlights, every arrow that has ever pointed you anywhere. Drop yourself alone in a forest at night. No moon, no trail, trees closing in on every side. Within an hour, you would be turning in circles, heart pounding, with no idea which direction leads back to anything. But for 99.9% of human history, there was no dot, no map, no voice in your ear. There was only the dark, the cold, and a person who had to find their way home before both of those things found them first. And somehow, night after night, they did. They did it using something inside them that modern people quietly threw away. To understand what that was, you have to step into the ancient night with them. Picture the world Flint lives in when the sun goes down. There are no lights burning on a distant hillside to steer toward. There are no painted signs, no worn roads cut through the land, no fixed marker anywhere that a person could stop and read. The valley is a single sheet of black, and every tree, every rock, every ridge dissolves into the same shapeless dark. Flint moves across that ground now, spear gripped tight in one hand, feet feeling for the earth ahead of him. Somewhere out there, across the cold open country, a small fire is burning at his camp, and his people are waiting inside its ring of light. He has to reach it. Not because he wants comfort, but because the night is dropping fast toward freezing, and the cold alone can kill a man who stops moving. And he is not the only thing awake out here. Beyond the edge of what he can see, animals with far better eyes are moving through the same darkness, listening, testing the air, waiting for something to wander and lose its way. In this world, a person who got lost was not simply inconvenienced. A person who got lost was a person who did not come home, and often a person who did not survive the night. So how does a man with weak eyes, no map, and no tools of any kind still carry the entire shape of this land inside his head? Start with the thing working against him. His eyes, human eyes, are almost useless in this kind of dark. An owl gliding overhead can see the twitch of a mouse in near total blackness. A wolf slipping between the trees reads the night as if it were dim daylight, its eyes catching every scrap of light there is. Flint has none of that. In this dark, his own hand held in front of his face is barely a shadow, so he does not navigate the way you would try to. He stops relying on his eyes altogether and starts reading the land through everything else. Under his bare feet, he feels the ground begin to tilt, and he knows he is climbing the long slope that leads up out of the valley. He turns his cheek into the wind, testing the steady cold breath that has been pushing from the same quarter since dusk, using it like an invisible wall to hold his line. Far off to his right, he catches the low, constant rush of the river, and he knows that as long as that sound stays on that side of him, he is still facing the right way. Then he pauses, tilts his head back, and looks up. The stars are wheeling in a slow arc overhead, the same arc they trace every single night, and he tracks them the way you might track the hand of a clock. Slope beneath him, wind against him, water beside him, stars above him. But here's what is strange. Even the sharpest of those senses is not really the answer. The true trick was never in his ears, or his skin, or his eyes at all. It was happening somewhere behind them, inside his mind. Here is what is really carrying him home. Flint has walked this country his entire life. Every hunt he has ever run, every route his people ever dug, every path to water in the dry months, every place a herd crossed in the spring, all of it is stored inside his head as a single living map of the land. He did not sit down and memorize it. He built it the slow way, one journey at a time, layering thousands of walks over thousands of days until the whole territory lived behind his eyes. And the range of that map is far larger than most people imagine. Hunter-gatherer groups have long been known to travel and return across tens of kilometers of open, unmarked country, tracking the movement of animals, remembering where a spring runs even when it has gone dry, and finding their way back to a camp they left days before. They read the ground itself like a page, faint prints in the dust, cracked earth where water once pooled, the bend of grass where something heavy passed through. So when Flint climbs the last of that slope, he is not guessing. His hand finds the flat face of a boulder he has touched 100 times, worn smooth on one edge. He knows this stone. He knows that just past it the ground drops toward a bend in the valley, and that beyond that bend sits the ridgeline where his camp waits. He turns his shoulder against the rock, lines himself up off it, and steps forward with certainty. But a map like that only saves you if one thing never fails. You have to know, at every single moment, which way you're facing. Lose that, and the whole map turns to nonsense in an instant. But holding that direction is not something he gets to do once and forget. It is constant, exhausting work, a thread he has to keep unbroken with every step through the black. And tonight, that thread almost snaps. A shape moves fast in the dark ahead of him, low and heavy, and Flint bolts. He runs blind, tearing across ground he cannot see, twisting left, cutting right, throwing his whole body away from the thing behind him. And when he finally stops, chest heaving, the danger gone, something worse settles over him. He has no idea which way he is facing. The slope, the wind, the stars, the river, every thread that was carrying him home is gone, scattered by 30 seconds of panic. This is the moment that killed people. One bad turn on a moonless night, a fog rolling in, and the fire that was so close simply vanishes into the black, no closer than a fire on the moon. A man who could not find his direction again would wander until the cold took him, or until the animals found him first. So Flint forces himself to stand still and breathe. He tilts his head back, hunts for the wheeling stars, feels for the tilt of the earth, listens for the river, and slowly, piece by piece, he rebuilds which way is home. Most modern people dropped into that same dark without a glowing screen, would never rebuild it at all. And yet, incredibly, there are people alive right now who never lose it in the first place. But here's what almost nobody tells you. There are people alive today whose language will not let them get lost, because it does not contain the words for it. In parts of Aboriginal Australia, whole communities speak languages that have no left and no right at all. There is only north, south, east, and west. You do not scratch your left leg, you scratch your east leg. You do not move your cup to the left, you move your cup to the north. The linguist Stephen Levinson, working through the Max Planck Institute, spent years with speakers of one such language, Guugu Yimithirr, in far north Queensland. And he found something that should not be possible. To say almost anything, these speakers first have to know exactly which direction they are facing. Every second of every day, a child raised inside that language is forced to keep a compass running in their head from the moment they can speak, so it never switches off. Levinson watched people point true north without a pause, deep inside buildings, in unfamiliar towns, in places they had never been. In experiments, speakers were led into strange rooms, spun around, and even blindfolded, and still they could point to the true compass directions with an accuracy that left researchers stunned. They were not doing a trick. They simply always knew, the way you always know which way is up. This is the sense Flint is standing inside right now, out there under the wheeling stars. His direction locked so deep, it does not need his eyes. It is not a gift he was born with, and you were not. It is a way of living in the world so completely that the land itself never stops speaking to you. And that same machinery is sitting quietly inside your own head at this very moment. And that is the part that should stop you. Deep inside your brain sits a system built to track place and direction. The same machinery Flint is running out there in the dark. It is not gone. It is just idle. Researchers who study how people find their way have found something quietly unsettling. The more we hand our navigating over to a screen, the weaker that inner sense becomes. When you follow a blue arrow turn by turn, the parts of your brain that would normally be building a map of the world go quiet, and over time they get lazy. Use them, and they sharpen. Ignore them, and they fade. You were built to hold an entire landscape inside your head, and without ever deciding to, you traded it away for a voice telling you where to turn. That empty, helpless feeling you get when your phone dies in an unfamiliar place is not a flaw in you. It is the sound of a muscle that stopped being used. So try something right now. Without moving, without checking anything, point to which way is north. You almost certainly cannot. But your ancestors always could, and the strange thing is, so can you. Watch Flint one last time, stepping away into the black country, spear on his shoulder, walking without a single doubt in his stride. He cannot see the fire yet, but he knows precisely where it burns, exactly how far it lies, and every turn of ground between here and home. That certainty was ordinary once. carried by every person who ever crossed a dark valley to reach their people. And the quiet truth is that the same compass is still wired into you, sleeping just behind your eyes, waiting for you to start using it again. The land your ancestors walked was speaking to them constantly, in directions, in distance, in the pull of home. So it makes you wonder what else they could feel that we have gone completely numb to. What other senses were once as sharp as this one, guiding them through a world we can barely imagine, that we have quietly switched off and forgotten we ever had? That same ancient compass was only one forgotten survival sense. Watch why did ancient humans survive on so little sleep? Next, then subscribe to Before History.